Tucker Carlson sharing some never-before-seen surveillance video out of the January 6th riots that happened in 2021. One big question is, why are we just now seeing these videos now more than 2 years after it happened, even after there was a supposed bipartisan committee to investigate what happened on January 6th? Why didn't that committee put out all of these videos? I expect we'll see a lot more of what Tucker Carlson has as he plays it out throughout the week. I imagine he's going to get all kinds of ratings for it. Maybe that's part of the rationale behind this, him doing a slow drip of sorts. But you do have the new U.S. House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, giving Tucker Carlson access to thousands and thousands of hours of surveillance footage. And I want to just air a little bit of what Tucker Carlson had on his program last night, and in particular talking about the so-called QAnon shaman and video showing Capitol Police, walking the so-called QAnon shaman around in a somewhat nonchalant fashion. Here's how that played out on his show last night.
Dangerous conspiracy theorist dressed in outlandish costume who led the violent insurrection to overthrow American democracy. For these crimes, Chansley was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison, far more time than many violent criminals now receive. What did Jacob Chansley do to receive this punishment? To this day, there is dispute over how Chansley got into the Capitol building. But according to our review of the internal surveillance video, it is very clear what happened once he got inside. Virtually every moment of his time inside the Capitol was caught on tape. The tapes show that Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides. Here's video of Chansley in the Senate chamber. Capitol Police officers take him to multiple entrances and even try to open locked doors for him. We counted at least 9 officers who were within touching distance of unarmed Jacob Chansley. Not one of them even tried to slow him down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us in this building.
Contrast the reality of what Jacob Chansley did in the Capitol building on January 6th.
So again, you've got the presentation of that just one instance last night where it shows clearly that Capitol Police weren't tackling this guy for something that you would think if you're getting 4 years in prison, yeah, police are going to tackle you for something like that. If you're trespassing, that wasn't the case in the surveillance video that took 2 years to release, but only through an intermediary of Fox News from the House Speaker. So that's just one instance. You also have the instance of how the Democrats, in particular, used the death of a Capitol police officer, Brian Sicknick, who died a day or so after January 6th of what the coroner says natural causes, how that story was used to, in a way, conflate the deaths that Democrats say happened on January 6th. Only one death happened on January 6th, and that was Ashley Babbitt. She was shot by a Capitol police officer. The other deaths that happened after January 6th of police officers. So you can see how that was used as a bludgeon, and the information was withheld now for 2 years. And that's going to rattle some people when they realize that thousands and thousands of hours were not released while you had the politics used from national hosts to local hosts, bludgeoning an entire political spectrum as insurrectionists, as racists, as bigots, as violent terrorists, extremists, and they used that as a bludgeon over and over and over and over again. Yes, there were people who conducted violence on that day, who beat police officers, who broke windows, and they should be held accountable. But should that have been, a narrow focus, and should there have been full transparency of all of this? Let's hear what Adam Kinzinger had to say on CNN earlier this morning. He appeared and tried to downplay play some of what Tucker Carlson presented last night. Here's former Illinois Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. And let's go. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and fire.
Sad thing is, you're going to have people that have only gotten their news on Fox News that are never going to have the opportunity to hear the truth. Because what Tucker Carlson employs here, he's employed it basically probably his entire time he's been a grifter TV show host, because he knows better than this, by the way, is he takes a cut scene and creates a straw man. So first off, on the opening there where he says, look, there's only like a handful of people here. I'm like, I know one of those rooms, particularly Statuary Hall, was filled with people. There's tons of pictures of that. At some point leading up to it being filled or after it's filled, there's going to be moments when there's only a few people in there. Secondarily, you look at okay, one of the things he said, Josh Hawley was running, yes, but so was every other member of the Senate. Okay, yeah, because there was violence that day. He said Officer Sicknick didn't die at the riots. He was walking around at the end of the riots, at the end of the insurrection. Nobody ever claimed that Officer Sicknick died that moment. He died a day later. And then the Ray Epps stuff saying, well, he was there 30 minutes after the thing. He creates a false thing that has been claimed. So it's hey, look, there isn't purple spray paint. And everybody said they spray painted the entire Capitol purple. Nobody said that. You just said that. But unfortunately, people are never going to see the truth.
So the damage is already done, you're saying?
I think so. Look, I think that in terms of history, nobody that believes any of that garbage Tucker was spewing, none of their kids will ever believe that garbage. And in fact, I think in 5 or 10 years, the people that believe the garbage today that have kids will never admit to their kids that they believed it.
All right, so it just turns into rhetoric after rhetoric after rhetoric. But you could have staved off any of these questionable comments or suppositions by releasing the video 2 years ago. Could have staved off a lot of consternation with transparency. That seems to always be the issue. It's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And was this a cover-up by not having the full release of all of this video evidence? Take a quick call. Good morning. You're on WMAY. What's up?
Yeah, Kinzinger is just projecting, because that's exactly what they did when they produced all that material for the primetime hearings.
They cherry-picked. They created straw men. Yeah.
I mean, I know they showed Josh Hawley running out, and then all the footage shows them all running out, but they were all escorted swiftly by Capitol Police.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And just to share another comment from somebody, it says the reason why the shaman, the QAnon shaman, was being escorted around, this commenter on text says it just means that there were Capitol Police complicit and sympathetic to Trumpsters. That's the comment from a listener as to why several Capitol Police were just nonchalantly taking the QAnon shaman around, who apparently was supposed to be some big, evil, crazy terrorist on mushrooms. But I don't know if you can write that off, because it wasn't just 1 or 2. It was 9 or 10 that were near, again, within arm's distance of the QAnon shaman, that they didn't take him down. It's pretty remarkable. We'll obviously see a lot more of this and get your reaction to it all. While you've also got some really serious happenings down in Georgia of some violence against police. More than 20 people now facing domestic terrorism charges after dozens of young people in black masks attacked the site of a police training facility in Georgia. Things rather fascinating down there, but that's a developing story, and we'll see obviously more issues arise out of that. One last call here before the break. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
What you said, show the whole video and let people make up their minds.
Yeah.
All they did in those committee things were show snippets of this, that, and the other. And who was in charge of the police that day? Wasn't that Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah, you had Democrats in control of Capitol Police, and the questions of what kind of intelligence did they have beforehand, and did they heed the former president's recommendation that they get National Guard involved? Listen, there's a lot of Monday morning quarterback to be played here on this, but we'll obviously hear a lot more about it in the days and weeks ahead.